Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'm thankful to Dean of Faculty of Medicine, Gadjah University, and all of organizing committee that invite me to discuss about how healthcare organization make a balance cost and benefit. Before I go to the first slide, the main slide, I will ask to the ladies sit in here. If you go to Jakarta or Singapore, you can compare Jimmy Choo shoes and Dr. Kong shoes, who's choose the Jimmy Choo shoes and or Dr. Kong shoes? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we know that Dr. Kong shoes is orthopedic shoes and comfortable, and the model is good too. And if you choose the Jimmy Choo shoes, maybe in 1 year only 3 or 4 times you use this. It's correct? Yeah, yeah. So in universal health coverage, in the era of new medicine in cancer, we know about the many new medicine. We think about this too. So if we choose Jimmy Choo or Dr. Kong, we must think about the worth it of the choice. So please consider of your willingness to pay, impact on your budget, or if you can only spend once, what is the choice? This is the point in universal health coverage. The daily choice is like in here now, because you know in healthcare we know about the 7 leading source of inefficiency. For example, in overuse of diagnostic tests, longer length of stay because the adverse event. Dr. Kartika and Dr. Fajri said about the adverse event of the medicine and make the longer length of stay and more cost. Okay, and maybe low use of infrastructure, or you know about in medical error and suboptimal quality. Dr. Johan in previous consultation with our PhD student know about this, and in maybe a waste or fraud in healthcare too, and especially in medicine, because I'm from pharmacology, we know about underuse of generic. Before 2014, we know about this underuse of generic medicine, and if we use another branded from PMDN company, the price is higher, and always the new medicine always expensive. But now we know that the expensive medicine can negotiate with the government. And then in use of medicine, we know about prescribing quality of medicine indicator that many inappropriate on ineffective use in medicine. Okay, why we talk about this? Because in universal health coverage, STA is important. STA in UK and US, in Singapore and Taiwan and so on, start from many years, but in our country we just start from 2014, and like the baby now is the around 2 years, and then we start in the National Agency of Food and Drug Control. We use the pre-market data from randomized control trial submitted from manufacturer. We know about clinical efficacy, short-term safety, and in other country, and they need the piggyback cost effectiveness study on RCT, but in Indonesia, the agency not need this, not yet needs it. So the piggyback cost effectiveness study not available in here, and after the machine have the register number, we go to the post market, and we can study about the clinical effectiveness. The clinician always know about the clinical effectiveness and long-term safety available in the healthcare, and we can conduct cost effectiveness in healthcare too. After we have data, the government always know about the implication to organization and social consequence or legal or ethical consideration. So now we must think about the balancing of cost and health outcome. If we use the clinical effectiveness data, we ask how do the health outcome of the technology compare with available treatment alternatives. But in cost effectiveness, are these improvement in health outcome commensurate with the additional cost of the technology? And the cost effectiveness study is not easy in here because costly, time consuming, limited number of resources. You know, in here we don't have big data that synchronized by system, and we don't have the big data. The real world data is hard to take from the hospital to other hospital. This is our problem in the real with data in here. So why cost effectiveness in here had to conduct, but we can. Before go to the next slide, I give you the differences about the cost effectiveness analysis, cost utility analysis, cost minimization analysis, and cost benefit analysis. And in here, we report incremental cost per something. For example, cost per ulcer avoided or cost per life year gain, and the result is IDR or pound sterling or USD per outcome. In here, we reported incremental cost per quality life year or Kelly gain, and the result is IDR or pound sterling per Kelly, and the cost minimization, the reported is incremental cost of treatment B versus A, and the effect is similar. The result is IDR, and cost benefit analysis is cost and benefit in monetary value, and the result is IDR. Okay, if we look at the perspective, we can conduct a study in provider or payer perspective. This is consider input of the cost and the outcome, and compare both aspects across alternative intervention. And if we conduct societal perspective, we must include some element of input and outcome from the patient. This is the nature of economic assessment. You look at this is the target population group with inclusion exclusion criteria, and if we give the drug therapy or others, the alternative or the new one compare with the standard guideline now, we can look at the impact on health status. This is the variable is survival or quality of life, and the impact of healthcare costs is hospitalization, other drugs or procedure, and so on. And then the two machine compare, and then we can know about the outcome is can drug efficacy measurement is drug efficacy or adverse drug reaction and treatment value. In the previous presentation, we know about the PTE or the cardiac disease or something. This is the maybe the adverse drug reaction of the treatment. Okay, costs are expressed in monetary terms, but consequences are measured in the natural unit such as case cure, life saved, or hospitalization prevented, and the result are expressed as incremental cost effectiveness ratio or ICER. In the multiple myeloma, this is example, primary outcome is complete response or near complete response or very good partial response or partial response, progressive disease or overall response rate. And the secondary outcome can progression-free survival, time to progression, overall survival, or proportion of patients who had stem cell transplantation or adverse event. And the drug direct in the cost is direct, indirect, and intangible cost. Example of the direct cost is cost to deliver services to patient, both medical and non-medical. And indirect cost is cost of treatment to patient or society, and intangible cost is quality of life. This is the type of example type of the drug cost: direct drug therapy cost of drug administration, and the downstream drug therapy cost is adverse drug event, therapy value, readmission, increase in length of stay, increase in level of care, and so on. And in the sample graph, we know about how to measure this. Cost A for treatment A and cost B for treatment B. Compare the effect of treatment A and compare with an effect of treatment B. So this is the equation. Incremental cost effectiveness ratio is cost treatment A minus cost treatment B per effect treatment A minus effect treatment B. ICER are compared to the threshold or willingness to pay to see whether the new therapy has value for money. We know in the NICE in the UK has threshold around 20,000 until 30,000 pounds, and if the ICERs below this threshold, this is the cost effective, and above is deemed not cost effective. Now in Indonesia we don't have the threshold because we just only have data from 2014, and the data in hospital and primary healthcare not synchronized now. So it's not easy to count this, but WHO gives us 1 to 3 times GDP to make the threshold. But in the process, it's not not used in the process for formulary list in national formulary, because it's hard to count this. Okay, this is the example of the cost effectiveness of lenalidomide and bortezomib in patients with previously untreated multiple myeloma. You know, the quality adjusted life year can count around pre-progression 2.5 years and post-progression 1.4 for MPRR. This is the melphalan, prednisone, and lenalidomide, and this is for this SOMAP, melphalan and prednisone. This is the melphalan and prednisone. So you look at the cost, pre-progression, this is the pre-progression, post-progression, and the total is around 250,000 US dollar. This is the research conduct in US, and you know the cost effectiveness. This is the PMP versus MP, and this is MPRR versus MP. This is around 100 per cali. This is around 90 per cali, 90,000 per cali. This is why we must count this based on the threshold. We can say cost effective or not cost effective. So the cost effectiveness is based on the cost effectiveness plan like this. This is this is the cost from low to higher. This is the benefit from less to more benefit. This is the area that lower cost improve outcome, and this is a higher cost improve outcome, and here is high cost worse outcome. This is the lower cost worse outcome. So the decision making is based on the threshold. This is in UK around 2,000 counseling, and in the Thailand around 150,000 baht, and we say that ICER below threshold cost effective, and ICER above threshold is not cost effective. So this is the area of acceptance, and this is area of rejection. But now in Indonesia we cannot make a decision based on this. We in here we make a decision like not MCDA, multiple criteria decision, but because we not weighting or make a ranking, but based on the component of the medicine from the benefit, we know about the clinical efficacy from the data RCT from the manufacturer, and clinical effectiveness in journal, in study conduct in here, and we know about the drug safety, we know about pharmacovigilance that conduct by Badan POM, and we know about economic cost effectiveness, but a little. So we make alternative to change cost effectiveness with cost minimization. And then in the product level, we know about in the if the drug is new, we know about the data, about the price, and for copy drug, if patent of patent, in Badan POM, they have bioavailability study and bioequivalency study, and from manufacturer they must have the GMP, good manufacturing practice, GDP, good distribution practice, and quality assurance. And this is based on that in Indonesian how to make medicine accessible to every Indonesian citizen. We have the national formulary, and the method of is bottom up, proposed by hospital, professional, and association, and requirement is acceptable reason, evidence of efficacy, and decision. National Committee on Drug Formulary is in the team. We have a clinician, and we have many subdirectorate in Ministry of Health, from National Agency of Food and Drug Control and methodologies and so on. So in 2013, we make based on the medicinal essential medicine list plus we have, I don't remember the list of for before this DPHO and Camkesmas formulary, and add by submission of the hospital, and then we decide the list around more than 1,000 lists for health, primary, secondary, and tertiary hospital. Okay, the level of evidence only from meta-analysis, systematic review, and randomized control trial, and we compare the how much is life worth. And for example, in multiple myeloma, now the price of melphalan is only here, and bortezomib is around this. Is now it's still make negotiation with the Ministry of Health the price of bortezomib, because we must count based on the guideline. This is not only one drug, but combination. For example, Velcade, melphalan, and prednisone, and this is the example from the guideline. In the past, many years ago, bortezomib therapy is around 60,000 per patient, BSG therapy 14,000, and thalidomide therapy around 37,000. This is many years ago, but now the manufacturer go to the UK, and the cost per cali is only about below the 20,000. So, and the manufacturer can make negotiation with the government to make the availability of medicine in the list. Okay, and cost control and national formulary is selected approved indication is based on the National Agency of Food and Drug Control. For example, melphalan is only for multiple myeloma, for example, and the prescriber is only prescribed by hemato-oncologist, or for specific requirement. A requirement is, for example, is breast cancer is HER2 positive. This is the restriction, and maximum allowable number per supply. For example, is breast cancer is only 8 cycles only for metastatic breast cancer. This is the restriction of the in national formulary. And this decision-making process now in Ministry of Health have LKPP and oblique section make the generic name of medicine can go to the open tender, and this is the cost minimization, but with the good quality. And if head-to-head study, we choose the lower price per treatment course, and if non-inferior study, lower price per treatment course. If non-comparable trial and of patent, select almost equivalent medicine with lower price. If no comparable trial on patent, as pharma through purpose the best price.
Waktu tinggal 2 menit.
Ya, terima kasih Bu. Resharing is not available, but access scheme with negotiation with pharma is in here. And if not acceptable, re-evaluate. So this is requirement, approved Badan POM, certificate analysis, bioavailability and equivalency, assurance of availability, and nationwide distribution. So this is the example of Mervalan price, but healthcare must manage of supply because how many tablets need for healthcare is based on the healthcare. And now we make a STA, the STA2 P2JK Pharmacoeconomy section, Litbang, academician make, and I know that Dr. sit in here have the conduct the STA in cancer drug, and P2JK last year conduct the HD versus CAPD, and for PH, sildenafil for PH. This is we start to make HTA, and the topic is from hospital, from BPJS, and source of data is from hospital and BPJS, and source of funding is APBN, BPJS, and third party. So now SCA start, but around 2 until 10 we conduct now. But all of the list is more than 1,000, so we make MCDA like to choose the list to the formulary. Okay, time is up, and I say thank you for all of you. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.